Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What's the creepiest thing your child ever said to you? My son was around 3 at the time. Kept refusing to go downstairs as that's where Angel Man was, and Angel Man wanted to hurt the family. Time to move. And burn the house down. We actually had a 6-foot-tall concrete angel in our basement for years. It was a family heirloom. It was painted, but the paint was all faded and peeling. I don't think a horror movie prop designer could have made something creepier. And our basement was an unfinished brick and rough concrete floor basement in a 104-year-old farmhouse. It leaked and was damp all the time. You should have bricked it up, with a note saying "Do not let it out. Don't blink." That episode of Doctor Who scared me so much as a kid that I figured out a workaround: just carefully close one eye at a time, like you're winking, but keep it closed. You get to rest your eyes at different intervals, but you also maintain eyesight on the angel. Not my kid, but a little girl in my son's kindergarten class told me she lives across the street from a cemetery. I asked her if it was spooky to live that close to a graveyard, and she said very matter-of-factly, "Not during the day. But at night they all walk up to our windows and scream." Reminds me of a story a student of mine in Japan once told me. Her father was a caretaker of a temple and they lived on the grounds. The grounds included a cemetery. On certain holidays the Japanese leave offerings of food and drink on ancestors' graves. Unfortunately, this place being near forested mountains, the local wildlife included fairly large monkeys. They would apparently descend on the cemetery during these holidays as the night fell and people had left. And in the darkness they would scream and fight over the food left behind. That's a visual that never left me, lol. Welp, never gonna live by a cemetery. My grandfather was being interviewed about living in a new community-financed retirement center. As the center is next door to the village church and its cemetery, the interviewer asks how my grandparents feel about living so close to a cemetery. "Well, we'll be moving in next door eventually, we might as well get used to it." Big grin. He did move in. My grandmother still lives in that same apartment 10 years later. He wasn't wrong. How come you're not waking up tomorrow? Child says this: "You stay up all night out of paranoia and concern, therefore you didn't wake up because you were already awake." Gotta love a self-fulfilling prophesy. Well, how the fuck would I know if I don't wake up? Damn you, child, go to your room, you've thrown me into an existential crisis. My 5-year-old was speculating that the tooth fairy probably takes the teeth to put in her own mouth, so that she has millions of teeth in her mouth. Yikes. That would be a good horror movie, NGL. There is a movie similar to this called Darkness Falls. It scared the shit out of me as a kid. My 5-year-old daughter is trying to process the knowledge that everyone dies. So she tends to casually drop stuff about me dying into normal conversation. I know this is her age-appropriate way of trying to process the concept of mortality, but it is so unbelievably ominous and it comes out of nowhere. "I like your pretty dress, mommy. But you won't be able to wear it when you're dead. I love you, mom. But I'll miss you so much when you're dead." She also once dropped an absolutely terrifying comment about snuggling me when I'm dead. ETA, I'm 28. Which in her mind is ancient. I am practically at death's door. No, you'll be able to wear your pretty dress when you're dead. Don't let her scare you like that. She stood, and she looked at herself on her bed. Good heavens, she spoke in the silence. "I'm dead. I'm dead," she remarked as she stared down below. "I'm dead, but I look fucking fabulous though." My mill passed recently, and the 4Y/O's only reference for dead is phones, which gave us this glorious line. "So how long does grandma have to charge?" Oh, I feel bad for laughing. My son used to cling to me and cry, "I don't want you to die." He also used to cry when I told him I was married to daddy because he wanted to marry me. That's very common for kids who aren't old enough to know that marriage equals sex. In their mind they would be getting to live with their parent, have sleepovers with them, and not have to follow rules because they are a grown-up. Just after my little brother was born, my mom, 3yo, sister and I were talking about what not to do around the baby. Things like not leaving small toys out or throwing balls around the baby. After a few minutes my sister chimed in and said, "And you don't cut off baby's lips with a sharp knife." It's good advice. Most people don't need that advice, but those who do should definitely get it. My daughter was 4 and while we were eating breakfast one morning she says I was on a mountain once, and my dad died and then I woke up and was in this house with you and mama. Then we just sat there for a few seconds and looked at each other. Then she said she wanted to watch Paw Patrol. Terrifying. Kids saying things like this is surprisingly common. Still creepy. I have an awesome video of my son. He was maybe 2 to 3 at the time. He was taking a quarter and trying to put in the slot just above the door handle of a closed closet. He kept repeating his name, "Pay the lady, I pay her." When I asked what he was doing he responded, "I have to pay the lady in the closet." I asked him, "Why is there a lady in the closet?" He said, "She lives there. I pay her." I'd be more annoyed that the closet demo has the audacity to charge your son to live in his closet. Who the fuck does she think she is? I'm not cross about you haunting my house. You're a ghost, that's just what you do. But god fucking damn it, don't nickel and dime my kid. Yes, I know you were here first, but legally we own this property now, so you're not allowed to charge any us rent. This would make a really weirdly funny show or something. Like a character who sees spirits and shit and doesn't try to stop them haunting anyone, but gets annoyed when they're rude about it. Yeah, fine, you're a poltergeist, you make noise. But this nice couple in the house needs to get to work on time, so do you think you could observe some quiet hours between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. on the weekdays? If you really feel the need to make the walls bleed, could you at least not do it in the rooms where there's carpet? Do you have any idea how hard it is to get blood out of carpets? I know the carpet wasn't here when you were alive, but some rados who owned the place in 1978 decided shag carpet was the way to go, so now we have to compromise. Edit. Thank you to everyone who is recommending Ghosts, but it looks like the UK version, the recommended version, is buy only on Prime and I have car repairs at the moment. But whoever mentioned it has the cast of Horrible Histories kind of sold me on it because I love that show so hard. Edit 2. I also don't have HBO Maximum. My youngest, was 4, was on the carpet playing with his cars. Son, I can't wait to get a new house when this house explodes. Me half listening, aha, sure that sounds, wait, what? Son, yeah, when our house explodes, be ready and we'll just run out real fast, and then he turned back to playing with cars like nothing was said. Thankfully that was 5 years ago, and my house has not exploded. Yet. Tofu by not listening to my son when he said our house would explode. So when I was 15 I was fooling around with my girlfriend at the time and there was a knock at the door. It was the cops. I'm like, "Ush, hey." He asked if I knew why he was there. And I'm thinking. Surely not for fucking my girlfriend. No way. No. Be silly. He asks if was aware of anything wrong. I said number. He said I didn't hear anything wrong. I'm like, "Ush, no." And now my mind is like, oh fuck, the neighbors heard, she was pretty loud and they heard and we are underage, we are going to jail. And he's like, "You're sure, you didn't hear anything?" I'm like, what was I supposed to hear? And he just turns around and a house on the street has fucking exploded and there's bricks everywhere. The family were out but the boiler just took out an entire corner of the house. And he's like, "You seriously didn't hear that?" I said we were watching The Lion King. My sister and a mutual friend were at his place watching WWE SmackDown and it was really loud. Cops got a call thinking it's a domestic dispute. Our friend answers the door. "I'm sorry officer, it's not a domestic, it's SmackDown." Cop, laughing, "Just turn it down." My kid keeps talking about the babies in the walls of his bedroom. Very off-putting. When our little one was 3, she had 2 imaginary friends who lived in the wall. Talk about a creepy thing for a kid to say. We moved, and she has grown older. No talk of that kind of stuff anymore. Definitely thought it was more funny than creepy, but when my kid was 2 he was scribbling on a piece of paper and quietly sang, to the tune of "Row, row, row your boat, scrape, scrape, scrape your eyes today." This reminds me of my daughter. She sometimes sings "The people on the bus go crunch crunch crunch" while she laughs. When my son was that age he once sang the tune of "Twinkle Twinkle" except replaced all the lyrics with the word human repeated over and over. If he's a pod person, he's doing a shit job. Human 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 hi Oh. Hi daddy. Not said to me, but to one of my colleagues. She has 2 sons, and the younger started to have these terrible nightmares where he's being chased by someone with a huge knife and wants to murder him and all the kids. He would, as you can imagine, wake up screaming and refusing to go back to sleep. And then he asked his mom, "Mommy, is there a way how I could make myself not alive? I don't want to live like this anymore." I can't even imagine how his mom must feel when it's her child, but damn. Gee, that's heartbreaking. I had a weird, short phase when I was 19 or 20 where I had these terrifying nightmares that kept me in that doom headspace even after waking up, and made me never want to sleep again. I thought I was going completely crazy and would never be able to sleep or feel peaceful relaxation again in my life. They ended as quickly as they started, but it was hell. I would never wish that on a little kid. I had the same things, at the same age. Absolutely terrifying nightmares. I would wake up trembling and covered in cold sweat, and I couldn't get back to sleep. The few times I had someone sleeping with me or in the same room, they would say that I would cry out in my sleep. Hated it. Luckily I don't dream much anymore.